Hey, man.
George.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. 3 weeks?
Yeah.
So it's been something like
that? Yeah, since I ran into you walking in the elevator.
Yeah, you were smart. You were leaving the bar or the club at a respectable time. I was going in when I should have been leaving.
Yeah, we went to have dinner, and then I think we were leaving, and you were just showing up.
I was just showing up, but it was a
ready
late
to
night
shut
for
the
me.
place down.
That's the idea. Generally, that's the idea. How are things?
Things are good.
Yeah. You made this record in your studio at home?
A lot of it. Yeah, I got a studio at the house with huge windows, so lots of natural light coming in, and it's a beautiful space.
When you're trying to make songs now, having done it for a long time, do you need to change up environment, change up process, anything to do it differently?
I was worried about putting a studio at my house for the fact that I wasn't sure if I'd feel creative in the same place over and over again, because I'm used to traveling around. But I think I still do it anyway, so that a lot of the record was made there, but I still made a lot of parts of it out in New York and Los Angeles and different people's studios. Even in Nashville, we went to a couple of different studios. So I do like to get out of the same space and even collaborate with new people too, people I've never met before.
A lot of good people on this record.
There's a lot of that on this record.
You even have Martino Sabero on one of the songs at some point, a Canadian, which is cool. There's a lot of different people that are connected to this record.
Yeah.
How do you handpick them? How do you decide what you want?
It's very organic. I mean, it's just either I'm a credit junkie, so I'll remember people's names from records that I like or songs, and that could be anybody. It could be someone that just mastered the record, or...
Do you cold call them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Keith Urban. Can you come over here and do a song?
Get a contact. Like for Julia Michaels, I'd heard Issues, and I loved that, and I got her EP and loved the entire thing. So through a mutual friend, I said, can you introduce me to Julia? I'd love to see if she wants to write, and Justin Tranter as well. And it was just reaching out.
When you were a kid, were you reading record sleeves and looking at names?
Yeah.
When did it start pop up? Like, when did you start to recognize names?
Probably about 7.
Yeah?
Yeah, about 7 years old. The first time I saw it recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, written on the back of all my dad's records.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where you go to make records.
Right.
And I've always said it, man. I said, if he was into African music, I'd be living in Zimbabwe trying to explain what I'm doing there. Instead, I'm in Nashville.
What kind of music would you be making if you were making in Zimbabwe?
Pretty rhythmic.
It'd be pretty good, for sure. Your grandfather played too, right? Did your grandfather play?
I guess from a long line. Great-grandfather played piano, my grandfather taught piano, and my dad played drums.
Was music always playing in the house?
Yeah, always. Dad had a really great 8-track stereo in the car, and that was great too, and always in the house, much more than television.
Really? What kind of stuff was playing?
Mostly American country. When I was growing up, it was a good mix because my dad was into American country. Don Williams, Charlie Pride, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash. My brother, who's 2 years older than me, he loved Eagles and Supertramp and ELO and Fleetwood Mac, and then my mom was like into Neil Diamond and the Everly Brothers. So it was this big melting pot.
All crushing songs, great hooks,
great songs,
amazing songs.
That's exactly right.
And all of that stuff, right?
You're exactly right. Yeah.
So is that when you started to think about songwriting?
I loved writing poetry at school. I was just always interested in that, trying to write cheesy little love poems to my girlfriend at the time.
Did you pass it through class?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't remember now, but...
Did you ever get smoked for it?
No, I never did. But I'd always want to turn it into a song.
So at least you knew it at that time.
Yeah.
But when did you think you could do it?
Last Tuesday.
No, that's if you sold 20 million records, 23 golds, and you just figured it out, then you're not in the moment, bro. You need to get in the moment.
No, I think I was in a band when I was 21. And it was a cover band. I wasn't the lead singer. I was playing guitar and a side vocalist. And we had a pretty solid crowd that would come and see us regularly. And I said, well, this is the perfect environment for us to write a couple songs. Yeah. And the lead singer was a little bit nervous about that because his attitude was they love us because of all these covers. Yeah. And I go, yeah, but they come and see us every week. We can do one original. And if they dig it, we'll slip in another. So we sort of started doing that a little bit. I wrote a little bit and we'd do a song. But we'd always come to the song in the set list and the lead singer would be like, oh, let's skip over that one and do Moni Moni. I'm like, ah. So I was like, I'm out of this band, So I think that was the time when I realized I was done with cover bands and wanted to start writing original material.
Were you confident to get out there and actually be the person? It's easy when you're not the front person in a band.
Yeah.
Not easy, but easier.
Yeah. Probably because having the guitar is a good security blanket like Linus.
Just when all else fails, just look down and do this.
Yeah. Or just the fact there's a barrier between me and the audience at the beginning is kind of this comfort level.
Right.
And I feel very comfortable on guitar, so it's always been a good assist for me.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? A strange thing how you can become very good at something that is a very internal reality. Sitting in a studio, making a record, doing a song, being comfortable, a security blanket, and then if you do it right, you now have to be in front of a lot of people.
Right.
People you wouldn't otherwise be in front of.
Yeah.
Right. And for a lot of artists, that's a very difficult thing to navigate.
Did you experience that with TV?
I didn't necessarily, because TV, you don't see the crowd.
Right.
So,
but you know they're there.
Yeah. But I was lucky. I started on radio. Right. So radio is just like overnight playing songs and phone calls would come in, and no one recognized you. But over time, I'm also not in front of however many people you're in front of. So that first time when you're like, oh man. And I always made stuff for the audience. Songwriting, though, can be a very personal thing. You know, were you writing it for people?
Well, it's always personal expression, but I'm interested in universal themes. I always have been. And also trying to write universally, too.
Right.
I tend to like songs of you and me and us instead of him and her or names. I like more ambiguity.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing about country, too, is that country is actually very literal in a lot of ways, which can be really good, because it's real. People can relate to stuff, you know, and even though it's a universal theme, it's something they can really connect to. Do you remember when you used to listen to musicians and think, I get that, I feel what they're feeling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Like Cash had a really great blue-collar sort of feel to it.
For sure.
Merle Haggard, and you've got Merle Haggard part on this record, too.
Yeah, we took a riff from Mama Tried. It's a famous Haggard song.
Oh, yeah, it's an amazing song.
And this is such a well-known, for me, guitar intro. And I've always thought I'd love to use that in a song one day. I thought it would initially be something that might be a sort of recurring motif throughout a song. But when I worked with Jay, I wrote him in New York, it's great, in Los Angeles, great instrumentalist, producer, songwriter. He took the intro from the record, and then he sped it down, tuned it down, put some chords around it, and made this sort of music bed that when he'd finished it, I sat in the studio and was like, and just scribbled out what became the chorus, like immediately. Got a mic and sang it. And I was like, okay, what's this song about? It was that kind of thing. And I realized that Haggard sample made me think of home and wanting to come home, you know, and it's immediately I was flashing back to my first early days in Nashville. And when it gets really tough there, most people, even Canadians, can get in the car and go home.
Right, yeah.
I can't go home.
Right. And so where is home for you now? You've been away a long time.
That's really where Nick and the girls are.
Yeah, that's where home is?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Nashville.
Yeah.
I've been there a long time.
Yeah.
Sydney feels home. Yeah.
Must be nice to go back there, too. Always
nice.
Is Australia like Canada, where no matter how big you get around the world, when you come home, it doesn't really matter? You're just that guy from here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This friend of mine said to me one time, it's the great level. My friend said, Keith, do you know how much people think of you? I said, how much? He goes, rarely.
But that's a good thing to hear.
It's a great leveling at all times of the day and night.
Right on. Good to see you, brother.
Always good to see you, George.
You too, man. I'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.